Yeah, you can clap pretty much whenever.
Okay. You are. Don't let him treat you like that, Tom.
I think we're live.
We are. Yeah, we've been recording this entire thing.
Show me the notes, man. Let's tell you to clap.
Okay.
The whole light situation, all
we're
that has been
starting off
recorded.
with crying. Okay.
Me crying?
Yeah, you have like tears in your eyes right now.
Oh gosh.
What's up, everybody? Jared James here. Welcome to this episode.
I don't even know if my mic's working fine. We didn't check that.
I can hear you.
You could? Okay, perfect.
How is your mic hidden? Guys, we are, just so everybody knows here, we are trying a, we're in our new space where we still don't have it all set up. So we don't have the backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. We're testing out mics. I've got a shirt ruffled up, makes it look like I have a belly. Got a big glare on my forehead.
I tried to help you with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So we're trying to figure things out here, and
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So don't mention the glare, people.
We just,
I mean, after you watch this, say it wasn't bad at all.
we're gonna have nothing but comments.
It looks terrible.
I wish I could focus on the content, but all I see
It doesn't. Yeah,
is
we should
those
just turn
headlights
off that
coming
camera.
at Jared's forehead.
Why don't we turn off that camera so he
No.
doesn't look at himself?
No. Okay. God. Anyway.
Oh goodness.
What's up, everybody? I'm back in the country. By the way, joined by Linda James and Teddy James.
Oh, Teddy James.
Teddy James over here. So if he acts up, we will eliminate
He's a little
him.
needy right
We will
now.
eliminate. Exactly. He's annoyed me, guys. Just so you know. So if he acts up,
Yeah.
we will eliminate him.
Where is he? Could you see him? Oh yeah.
He's good. He doesn't need any
Oh,
attention.
no attention. No attention.
Tom back there.
Hello.
Yep.
Tom.
Spinning your favorite songs.
That's
Big
right.
DJ over there. But yeah, back in the country. We have so much to talk about today. But
I know.
after this treatment I've gotten here, I'm not sure why I came back into the country.
Not our fault. Your forehead's shiny. Oh gosh. It's really not shiny in person, people. It looks great. So.
I mean, we don't need to say it looks great. We don't need to oversell it here. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Anyways,
yeah, back in the country.
Whatever.
Catching up, getting back on time zones, just to leave again and head back out. But I'm just back from Czech Republic through France.
Oh.
Francais. By the way, if you ever want to have like a really good event with me, be the next English-speaking event after I leave the country. I'm just so excited to talk to people and have them get my jokes and because when you do, first off, international audiences are incredible, no doubt about it. They're incredible. They are. It always shocks you that like these people know you because they're from other places, not here. And but it's just look, if somebody came to us and they were speaking a different language, we would have trouble as well. And so everywhere you go, they speak English, but it's not like their first language. And so everyone is on a 7-second delay. So you're in front of thousands of people, but they're on a 7-second delay, and it's just interesting,
That's actually wild to think that people will invest in, to them, like a foreign language person. It's like, have you ever invested in a foreign language company and had to listen or look at translations or captions to understand what they were saying?
I'm married to someone whose language is English is their second language.
Gosh.
Did I say a lie?
Yeah, no.
Did I say a lie?
Anyways. But
it's true.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying though. It's interesting, like that whole, what was it, Remax?
It was, Europe, Czech Republic.
That's just wild. Agents are investing into tools and coaching as like yourself, and they're really reading just captions and.
Well, what they do is they have a translator. They have an earpiece in.
Well,
and so even though, like, by the way, guys, when I say 7-second delay, it's not like 7 seconds and then they laugh, 2 seconds and then they respond. They're just keeping up and comprehending. So there's nothing. Like when you go to a foreign country, it's a performance. There's no reaction, and you are just doing your thing. So you're gonna come to Portugal with me, and you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see. Like it's silence.
That's amazing though, how they're investing into tools for their brokerage or their business.
Yeah.
And
I was the only. I was of the whole program. I was the only English speaking.
That's good.
So it's funny because like I'm backstage and I'm just hearing like Jared James,
That's my cue.
Yeah, and then you're like, I think that's me. I think that's Czech for me. So then you come out and it's just interesting, but I've gotten used to it now, but like the first time I ever did an international audience, you are just like, oh, I'm bombing. This is the worst I've ever done. And then you get out in the hallways and you're like the freaking Beatles, and you're like, where were you guys 10 minutes ago? I could have used some backup.
Well, when I go, at least I'll laugh.
Yes, you will.
I'll have one person in the audience.
Just one.
Or backstage.
Yes. But anyway, you'll see though, it is actually weird. You have to be confident in what you're doing and what you're saying, and it's different. But it is regardless, cool to be back in the country. And I meant what I said. Like if you ever want to go to a good event with me, come to the first U.S. or English speaking after I just got back in the country, and that's what happened. I was I flew in and I went to Dallas.
Yeah.
And right outside of Cowboys Stadium, right outside of the Rangers Stadium, Texas Rangers. Yeah. Well, it was pretty cool though. I ran around it and got to go for a little run and do that thing, and it was just so cool. Because you don't realize how important or how cool like immediate gratification is. The first time you get in front of that audience, you say your opening line and they react, and you're just like, oh, I forgot what that felt like. Mm-hmm. And it's intoxicating. You're like, oh my God, like this is I forgot. It's like when you don't have hot water at a house and you don't realize how important hot water is, and then when that hot water comes back on, it's the greatest shower you've ever had in your life.
Best.
Even though you've experienced it every day.
It's hot water and water pressure for Jared.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not only hot water.
Oh, yeah.
It's water pressure,
that's also important.
hot water, and even his bed.
Yeah, water pressure is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
My bed.
But you know what he also said? Right away he got to Arlington or Dallas, and right away he ordered a Starbucks coffee. That's all he wanted. He's like, I just want something that's like normal milk.
Now you know why people come home and they order McDonald's.
Yes.
Real quick, is your mic behind your hair?
No.
Okay. I don't know. It's
scratching because it's behind her shirt.
Oh, that's what it is.
I said that in the beginning. I was like, this isn't gonna work. Yeah.
Sorry, I was here.
I'm like, it's literally in her
better?
shirt. Well,
Probably.
now your hair is gonna do it. Take your hair and move it over. You still have hair over there. All right, try that. Try that. I'll tell you right now though.
On this side, but I'm looking this way, so
if these mics are gonna scratch every time we say something, we're gonna have to get new mics.
Yeah, we might.
Because they have to. Is mine doing it?
I can't tell if it's yours or hers, so that's why I'm trying to eliminate it.
Oh boy.
Okay.
But babe, if you put it on the inside, it's gonna scratch. You gotta keep it on the outside.
I don't know how this. I only can wear it this way, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Oh, because we gotta turn it. Yeah. That's a good point.
But my hair's on that side, and if I put my hair this, my face will be blocked.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Okay, so I'll just try it like
There
this.
you go. Perfect.
And just leave it. Are we cutting this whole part out?
No, I want it in.
All right.
Oh gosh.
No, it's all good.
Goodness.
I don't do that.
We're actually following the notes. That's right there.
Yeah, that was right there. Act like the mic was
That
acting.
don't work. Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay, but anyways, yeah, you were talking about
that's
coffee
better.
and just like the normal, like
you
appreciating.
just need normalcy. Like you literally just need normalcy. And like I said, you now know why people come back, and people who don't eat McDonald's when they're in America come back and eat McDonald's. Because they're just like, I know what it tastes like.
The ketchup.
And it's like crazy because you'll go places, and by the way, this is no shot at any other country. It's just they're different. Just like when they come here, it's different when you come here. It's just what you're used to. And so even like milk, like you might go to a place and it's unpasteurized milk compared to pasteurized, or it's whatever. So even if you find a Starbucks when you're there, it's not like your Starbucks. It's different. And so and it's all cool. It really is like really
it's
cool.
Healthier there though.
Everything's healthier there.
I know.
Everything's healthier.
So we're just
everywhere.
We're just used to like.
Well, God, you go to. I was in France recently. Not France. I was in Spain recently, and they're eating bread and whatever at every meal, and they're all thin, but it's different. Like they don't have the same sugars and the stuff that we have in ours.
We just like, give me this sugar. We need our normal. Yeah, it's bad.
You ever seen like how much sugar is in like a Subway?
No.
Oh boy.
We don't want to look at
Probably
that.
shouldn't.
We consider Subway healthy.
Yeah. So it was interesting, and I honestly I had some great conversations, but there was just this common thread when I was talking to people. Like, it is amazing, not just in America but everywhere, like how addicted people are to other people's approval. Like when you start to really get into it and you start to realize most of the things that people have fears of, most of the things that people don't want to do, they're not afraid of the thing. They're afraid of people watching the thing. People aren't afraid of talking. They're afraid of public talking in front of people. You see what I'm saying? It's like almost everything boils down to that. And like I was having this conversation with this guy, and he was trying to get me to solve this problem, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter if I solve the problem. Like you just care way too much about everybody else. So unless you're going to go, get a ball named Wilson and live on an island, you better get over this addiction to everyone.
Was this specifically like social media?
No, it was just, he got into a life conversation.
Oh.
You know, I got into very much a life conversation with some people, and everything just boiled down to the addiction to other
perspectives.
Think about it. People make decisions on whether to go on vacation or not, how people are going to feel. Should I go over here? Should I do this? How's that going to look? How's it going to this? How's it going to... It's like, look to who? To other people, you know? And it goes back to that, like when I made those rules at the beginning of the year about allowing other miserable people, you know, to dictate to you, you know, your decisions, right? Stop allowing other people who hate their lives to determine what you do with yours. You know, they have all these different rules for themselves and rules for whatever, and they hate their lives. They're miserable. And then they just go, well, you have to do that too. If I have to live like this, you have to live like this. You know, and it's like that kind of a thing. And so the more I talk to people, it's like the root of almost everything is just addiction to other people's
That's so hard
approval.
though to even like get over, quote unquote. Like you really have to work on that. Like a lot. It's like a lot of like work that puts into it. Because even me, I get worried about what other people think, but also it's how they translate things, even when it wasn't intended to be translated that way.
Yeah, it's funny you say translate, because I almost look at it when you say to get over it, it's almost like you need to put it through your own translation model. It's like when you're making a decision for something, there's multiple steps that you go through, but I think one of the steps is if you decide not to do something, you need to ask yourself why. You know, am I not doing it because it's not a good idea for this, or because, you know, or am I not doing it because these people think this? The moment it goes into the area of these people think this way, these people were going to react this way, I'm trying to avoid their reaction, I'm trying to, well then we're not making this decision from a pure place. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not enough to just make the decision, it's the process by which you make the decision, that when you come to the answer of no, the answer is why did I say no? And if the answer to no, you know, is pure, then that's fine. But you just need to start asking yourself, like, why? Because we've been conditioned since we're children to think a certain way and to go through a certain thought process, and we don't generally break down what that thought process is. We don't think about what the decision-making process is. But everything we do goes through a process. It's no different than unlocking a car, opening the door, sitting down, putting in the keys. There's a process to get in the car and drive away, and yet all we do is say, I'm going to drive home. We don't think about the process. And so it's the exact same thing, is that you have people running around everywhere that go through this process, whether they think about it or not. But part of that process is that they're allowing other people to determine, you know, what they do, how they do it, how they feel about if they do it, how they, you know, and it's just like, come on, you know? And I literally said that to this dude. I was just like, dude, come on, you know? I'm like, there's nothing I can say to you right now, because that one will be unhappy, and this one will do this, and that one will. And then it just made me, like I said, I just started going down this thought process, and I'm just like, yeah, public speaking is like the number one fear people have, but people aren't afraid of speaking. You could walk around your own house and say dumb stuff. You wouldn't care one bit. Once there's an audience, now you care, because it's about the judgment of others. It's about being, it's not about public speaking, it's about being humiliated. Humiliated by who? Others.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everything comes down to that.
I mean, when we first shot this
Think about, why did you say, should we cut that? We've already seen it. It was about others.
Yeah.
Right?
But, and it's like, even when we first did this podcast, we had a couple of comments about like, could you have your co-host not talk too much and just have so-and-so talk? And and right away I got like, turned back and like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. But it's just it's because either not only perspective or what they, or how they interpret things, but it's also like the feedback.
Yeah.
That allow us to either stop and not push forward anymore.
Yeah.
To limit.
Feedback is a powerful thing. It's a good thing, but feedback has to be put in its perspective. You know, it's like I tell the team before we do the, you know, the advance, right? Yeah. It's like, okay, let's say there's 1,500 people here, okay? If there's 1,500 people here live, forget about virtually, forget about all the other, you know, thousands of people. If there's 1,500 people here live, right? That means that if we absolutely crush it and we do the perfect everything and 99% of the people here absolutely love this, that means 1% don't. It means we have 15 unhappy, loud people. So when we get those 1 or 2 emails, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
See what you can learn from it. But like, look, if Jesus came back tomorrow, half the world would call him a racist homophobe. Like, think about that. Like, if literally, like, what billions of people on the planet consider to be the savior of the world. If he came back tomorrow, half the world would just criticize him. And no, he's this, and that does not line up with my, and they wouldn't be saying that doesn't line up, but what they're really saying is that doesn't line up, right? And so if Jesus Christ himself can't avoid that criticism, who are we, right? Like, it's like, what was his name? I was listening to an interview by Mr. Beast, and he was talking about how he did all this stuff to like raise money, and he was giving money to these people, and then he was doing whatever, and all these people were criticizing him, and he's like, good God, he's like, I'm literally raising money and giving it away to people, and you're still criticizing me. And it just goes to show you, like, people look at people like a mirror. Everything they do is a mirror into what I'm not doing or how I'm doing it, or it's a judgment on me. And it's like, I'm not even thinking about you. It's crazy. It's crazy how much people think you're thinking about them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like I said, there's a place for criticism. There's a place for feedback. Healthy and pure feedback, but you also have to understand that, what are you going to do? We get people who criticize us, just talk about real estate on the podcast. And I'm like, look, if you want just real estate, go listen to one of my 90-second reels. We're going to talk plenty of real estate today. But they're like, oh, all the nonsense, all that. Do you understand what a podcast is?
Yeah.
Like, do you understand, like, that's not how it works?
Yeah.
And so you've got to be confident in what you do. But anyway, it's just amazing to me, like how many people are doing things out of the fear of other people's rejection of them, or other people's feelings of them, or other people. And it's like, you live so much for other people. Like, do you even know who you are anymore? Most people aren't even themselves. They're a version of themselves they've learned to portray to other people. That's all they're doing. It's like a full-time Oscar award. They're literally portraying on a regular basis, based on the pushback from others, based on the feedback from others. They are portraying to others the version of themselves that will get the least amount of negative feedback. And then you see them go do something crazy, and they're like, I never saw that coming. It's like, yeah, because you never knew them.
Okay, so how do you direct someone like that, that's like seeking advice, personal advice, and you're just like, dude, get out of that headspace. Just project.
Yeah.
And but really though, if they said, great, but it's really a struggle for me, Jared. How could I take the first step? What's the first step? How would you actually guide someone in that?
Well, the first step is they already took. The fact that they're asking the question means they know something's wrong. You don't ask the question unless you know something's wrong. So you know that you're not.
To acknowledge.
You know that you're not being yourself. You know that you're worried about others. You know that you're. But honestly, we learn things. We're trained on things. We're untrained on things, and we unlearn things the same way we learn them. It's just repetition, right? Like I'm not going to go into a whole like psychological whatever, but like everything in our world is about associations, right? You touch the stove, it's hot. You don't do it anymore. That's all that's happened, is that people have learned. You learn associations, and then you assign meaning. It's really what it comes down to. So when you associate somebody criticizing you, and the meaning that you assign to that is that because I'm doing it wrong, I need to be right, then you are constantly going to fix that, right? When you create a new meaning, when you create a new association, means a new meaning, and now somebody criticizes you, and you go, oh man, they're showing how unhappy they are with themselves. Now that meaning creates different results for you, and you react differently because of it. So the same way that you unlearn or untrain is the same way you learned or trained to begin with. It's the repetition, the acknowledgement, and then constantly telling yourself a different story. Constantly telling yourself, meaning is so powerful. Like, I'm going to break out one thing that I have notes on for the advance, okay? I got a lot of notes for the advance, okay? September 18th and 19th, Orlando. The last session I usually do, the closing, is usually a little bit more like personal business, like, that kind of stuff. And like, I was thinking about this the other day, and it's just so freaking true. The only difference between people who experience trauma and people who gain wisdom is the meaning that they assign to the memory. Think about that. So somebody goes through an experience, and they go the rest of their life completely traumatized because of that experience. Someone else goes through that exact same experience, and they learn from it of what not to do and how to grow from it. And thank God I went through that, because it builds me up and I'm stronger now and I can help other people. And now I know what to say when I'm in that situation. And now I know, like alcoholics only listen to other alcoholics, like people who have gone through it, right? And so one guy is a counselor helping alcoholics, and another person dies from alcoholism. They go through the same experience. The difference between someone who experiences trauma and somebody who gains wisdom is nothing but the meaning you assign to the memory. That's all it is. You've seen firsthand, right? Like me and my brother go through similar experiences as children, and he's still traumatized, and I'm over here like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah. Same scenarios. It's the meaning we assign to the memory. Meaning is, and again, I won't turn this whole podcast into this, but like meaning is so powerful. And some of us allow others to tell us what the meaning is. Some of us, because of different things we've learned, we develop meanings that aren't helpful. And literally, a meaning does not have, there's no such thing as a real meaning, a true meaning. There are so many different meanings you can pull from everything that you go through. The question that you need to ask yourself is that meaning helpful? Does that meaning help me? The meaning that I'm assigning to this. There is no, oh, that's right or that's wrong. There are so many different meanings to every single thing we go through in life. You just need to make sure that the one that you're choosing to digest is helpful. It doesn't mean the other one's not true. They're both true. Which one's helpful? That's all that matters, right? And so people say like, oh, you're pushing that away or you're blocking. No. No, I'm gaining wisdom. You're getting traumatized. It's what's the difference? Yeah. So.
That was deep.
I know. Check, please. Here we go. All right.
That was great, though. That was true.
Anyway, on that note, it's good to be back in the country. God. Good to be back in the country. I've done the last, oh my God, I went and did audiences. I got more audiences coming. It's so cool. You got these thousands of people. But honestly, I just did two sessions the last couple of days with over 5,000 agents. Virtually, which is the best thing ever, because you can just do it, virtually, and then you move on. But I just did a session for an international brand with thousands of people on it, talking about social. Social media is not social media; it's modern day marketing. And we are launching this week. Maybe by the time you guys watch this, we're launching our second social mastermind, and it's 2 full days in a suite with me in Vegas, just breaking down, this modern day marketing. This is
only your second one?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we've done a ton of masterminds. This is the second social mastermind. Second one, without a doubt. Yeah.
You guys sold out last year.
Sold out quick. This one will sell out quick as well, guys. It's not cheap, but it's underpriced. It's $49.97. And for those of you listening right now, you have to think to yourself, it's less than $5,000 tax write-off. What is it worth it to you to be the best person in your market at this thing that is the #1 form of marketing today? It's not social media, it's modern day marketing. You cannot be in business for yourself and not be great at marketing, right? And there's an old adage which is so true. If you want to make 6 figures, be great at sales. If you want to make 7 figures, be great at marketing. And social media is modern day marketing, and for those when this launches, get in quick. You won't regret it. We'll have a little fun too. It's Vegas, so we'll have a little fun too. You might even come by for a day or two. I'm not sure yet, but it sounds like you might do that as well. And
I could learn something,
Yeah, you said you wanted to come just because you wanted to come and learn and whatever.
Absolutely.
But it's guys, like I can't stress it enough. Like almost every social guru you follow is a fraud. They buy their followers. Go look at the views on their videos. Like it's the new fad. It's like the thing that's how you get hired at events. You talk about social. And there's a part of that because it's so true. People need to learn about it. They need to know about it. But then, you've got an opportunity here to sit in a room with someone who's, legitimately done over 50 million organic views the last 12 months. Another 120 million paid.
What's really cool about the mastermind is it's really workshop style, huh? So it's like you're basically tasking them with homework, and they're doing it there. You have to report. You have to post. You have to do. So it's really hands-on, which I
We're
love.
teaching, and then we're saying, well, what will we do in this scenario? Where's the content? How do you do it? Let's do it live. Let's go. Yeah.
Those people that not only are like camera shy and not familiar with social, but this is also great for those that just need to like learn to have a voice and to like appreciate, like, it's a lot of it is
to
that
find
too,
their voice
to
on
find
topics.
Their voice.
Yeah, like what is your voice?
If you're there to master it or not, which you want to, at least this will help build confidence too in doing that. And so I'm excited because I still struggle with. I hate doing stories that have me talking in it, or like video.
And yet you do them so well, like.
But yeah, so and people connect with emotions and like you looking at a camera and like they connect to that. So it's really cool that you're doing the workshop on top of that.
Yeah.
So people are leaving away not only with really cool like nuggets, but also like this is what I did. This is what I posted. And then do you typically like follow up? I don't know this. So like do I don't know, a private Facebook group or like a group that you guys kind of follow up with?
Yeah, we have a private Facebook group where we just kind of go back and forth, and people are posting their stuff and getting feedback. And,
I think that's so cool.
You know, what's working, and then a lot of them too, they still DM me. Like, look, I get a lot of messages, right?
Yeah.
And you try to answer as many of them as you can. Obviously, you can't do all of them, but you try. But like people who come to the mastermind, like I want them to crush. So it's like you see them, and it's like, okay, let's go. Like you're helping them, and let's try this and do this, and you're watching their stuff, and then telling them what to change. And it's literally like I can't explain it enough. Like it's such a science. You know, when you start looking at these algorithms and how it works and how you get your stuff in front of people. You know, I showed an audience the other day. Actually, when I was in Czech Republic, I showed them, and I pulled up a post from a couple weeks ago, and I said, "This is one platform." I said, how many views does that have? And the guy goes, 1.72. I said, yeah. How many were non-followers? I showed him the insights, 91.1%. And I said, what I need you to be impressed by, what I need you to understand is not the 1.7, 1.8 million views, because you don't need that as a local professional, right? What I want you to pay attention to is the 91.1 non-follower. That's how you grow. The tactics that I teach you, is to show you how to do that. So you may not get 1.6 million non-follower people on your video or your whatever, but if you got 1,600 every time of non-following people who are just learning about you for the first time, now the things I've talked about for years, visibility trumps ability, now that starts to come into effect. Yeah. And you go, oh, that's how that works, right? And so that is really cool. That's going to be... it's always exciting for me to do it. And the questions that people ask are so cool, yeah.
And this honestly isn't, obviously your audience is real estate, but this is geared to anyone that wants to master social. So it could be a small startup business, it could be a corporation, it could be an intern, it could be an assistant to a realtor, it could be whomever. It doesn't have to be
what industry you're in matters the least.
Yeah.
Because the tips and tricks, it's like saying, it's like my my son just got his license. My younger son just got his license. He didn't learn to drive a Toyota, and that's all he can do. He learned to drive. Now he can drive anything. When he went for the test, he got into a car he's never driven in before. He's never done anything. Where's the thing? Where's the whatever? Like the stuff that we're teaching is learning to drive. Yeah. And now it's a matter of, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter one bit. It doesn't matter what highway. You don't go to a new state and go, I didn't practice on this highway. I don't know this highway.
So quite honestly, a realtor could bring in their sister who has a small boutique startup.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's
that's really
whoever.
Cool.
We had people at the last one. Like obviously, I've got a big real estate following. But we had people at the last one that weren't real estate.
And you had a husband and wife that went last time, I think, or a team or whatever. Someone had.
We've already had somebody who's signing up. She's bringing her friend
really cool.
and bringing a whatever, and it's like, guys, this is like the best value you're ever going to have, because again, you're learning how to never struggle at anything you do. meaning once you know how to be visible, once you know how to get in front of people, once you know, you could do anything, literally anything. You could open an ice cream shop. You could go, like, it doesn't matter. It's anything, That's why we can. Cool. That's why we can, make a video and get 50, 60 consults for FyrstUp, and then right before that we're getting a ton of consults for coaching. And then we're getting speaking stuff coming in, and then people are going and going in droves over to Mosaik, and then you got people over here going. It doesn't matter. Once you know how to get attention, and once you understand algorithm, and you understand the human psychology of what makes them watch and what makes them share and what makes them, it doesn't matter. You now know how to drive the car. you know, so to say.
So that's exciting. May what?
May 29th and 30th.
Cool.
So that's a Thursday, Friday. Most of us will get in on Wednesday.
That's good.
Try to get a little sun.
I think I'll fill up a little
Friday night, I heard that we're going to a little Steve Aoki.
Okay, you want Yoki?
Am I saying it right? I don't know how to say it. That's the big DJ guy.
I have no
Max
idea.
tells me we're going to some big DJ Friday night. So
Max is one of the coaches.
Did I do that right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess
yeah.
we'll find out.
Well,
Yeah.
ask
Well,
Mr.
she won't. She's
Aoki.
coming in. She's got the kids that weekend, but
Yeah.
um,
It's only a hop, skip, and a jump from where I'm
sending
at.
the wife away
40
and
minutes.
going and checking out that DJ there, Tom.
know.
Okay, that's.
He parties without me.
Oh.
Because I
Oh, yeah, he will be asleep by the
sleep
time.
with
Yeah.
my children.
Hey everyone, want to take a moment and talk to you about a really cool company called Privy. You know, if you were listening to this episode or even moving forward here, you're going to notice that I'm going to talk a lot about investors and how I think this is a huge part of the market that if you're growing a real estate business, we're not paying enough attention to. You know, I'm a big believer here that sometimes to grow your business, you don't just have to pick up a piece of the pie that's already there. Sometimes you have to go to a completely different pie. And it's so interesting because when you look at it, you look at all the data and you see that, you know, 26, 27%, almost 30% of all residential transactions in the last 12 months were investors, right? They were investors. And when I was an agent, like a ton of the business that I did were investors. And so a lot of you hear that and you're like, oh, it's institutional investors. It's, you know, institutional investors only make up about less than 3% of the overall market. And that's actually going down for the first time in years, which means that we have this huge number of people who are buying and selling properties all of the time, right under our nose, thousands of transactions. They're going to happen regardless. The only question is, are they happening with you? And that's the key thing that I want you to understand. And so when you look at Privy and what they do, they make you the go-to person to work with when it comes to finding investments, when it comes to finding out what a good deal is, when it comes to finding out what the right neighborhoods are, what the wrong neighborhoods are, what previous people had did, all at the touch of a button, right? And so all of a sudden, it's funny, I look at their stuff and I'm like, you know, I worked with all these investors when I was selling real estate, and I'm like, how did I do this without this kind of a tool? And you don't have to do that. Now these kinds of tools are there. And so you're going to hear me in the future talking a lot about working with investors and what that looks like. And like I've said over and over again, it is my job to not only tell you what the problems are and what the solutions are, but ultimately to give you the tools that you need so that you can be the go-to source for something like that. And man, are these people worth a lot of money to you. So do yourself a favor, guys. Go to privy.pro. That's privy.pro. Amazing tool. You can ask us questions. There's more things even coming down the road with them that are just going to blow you away. But this is a tool you need in your business, especially for what it costs. It's not a cost, though. It's an investment, but it's well worth it. Let's start getting those investors. We are straight off of another mic mishap. Linda keeps messing up the mic.
It was not me this time. It was him.
No, did you just? That's wow. Well, anyway, so let's get to some of the real estate stuff that's happened because there has been some major stuff that has happened recently. We had this breaking news in our industry that. It looked like Compass was purchasing Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and this is going to go down like in history of like it was a fraud. It wasn't. So let me just say first off, did I tell you about that before it happened?
You did tell me.
I did. Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if I told you or not.
No, you did tell me. It was like this, baby.
Baby, you
Don't
cannot say
say
thing.
anything.
Yeah.
But guess what I just heard? I won't say who told you. But yeah, guess
Yeah.
what I
So
just
we
heard.
so
I was like, what?
First off, this was not a fraud, okay? And you know, and everybody's like, oh, see, it didn't happen. It didn't. Okay, guys, that does not mean that it was not happening. And all you needed to look at was, you know, their CEO Gino when he responded when whoever broke, somebody's getting fired over there because
I know,
somebody
like,
broke the news when they were not supposed to break it. And
just
the
wait
deal
for a
was not
resignation
done.
notice coming out.
Yeah,
which
the
really is
deal
let
was
go.
not done, and they broke that news. And when they broke that news, all you need to do for everybody out there going, see, we knew it was fake or we knew whatever. Okay, well, I'd say a couple things to that. Number one, people in the industry who know a lot of people, like myself, and we already knew about it before it was happening. It was happening. Okay. Second off, If you just go look at the statement from Gino Buffari, the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, when the news was originally broke and somebody, basically went out and mentioned it when they weren't supposed to, his statement literally says something like, there is no deal in place, and he says a couple other things, and he goes, we will update you as we hear more. Update you on what? Obviously, there's something going on right now. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you go, this is nonsense. There's nothing to this. And then the next day came out and said, there's no deal. We don't know where these rumors started. There will be no deal. Obviously, it fell apart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't say the day before, we'll update you as we, as more. Update you on what? Obviously, there's something that's happening, okay? There's a lot of theories around this. My personal theory, which I could be, this is not me hearing from people. Now this is my own personal theory. My own personal theory is that when somebody was a mole and came out and released too early before the deal was done, I think the backlash from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, the affiliates and such, was so negative that I wouldn't have been surprised if Compass came back and tried to renegotiate and said, we're not paying that price now. It's not the same thing. We have people who are leaving. We have people who are not buying the same product anymore. Somebody leaked this. I don't think BHHS was willing to renegotiate, and I think it just fell apart. That's what I think, but it doesn't mean it's what happened. But we know there was a deal, and then it fell apart. Not a deal. They were at the closing stages of a deal, and then it fell apart.
Yeah. Going through because you did a post on this. I mean, everyone did a post on this. And going through your comments list was hilarious. You had people that were just like...
I love that you go through the comments.
I
don't even go through the comments. Yeah.
I'm looking... I mean, you had so many so quickly, so you had no time. But people were sharing it and commenting, and a lot were super offended from BHHS to even throw it out there. It wasn't a thing. See, look at Gino said it wasn't. And will always be BHHS, Home Services of America.
Go look at the statement. He did not say it wasn't.
Stuff. And then someone commented, I'm not sure who. I wish we could pull up your comments and kind of
Well, we actually could, but it'd be going through a lot now. I don't think we're going to put Tom through that right now.
Commented and said, why does it matter? You guys are giving way too much authority to a brand when you are your own brand. Why does it matter? And I really kind of want to touch on that a little bit because outside of your theory, I'm not an agent, not a realtor, not licensed. We talk about building your brand and using your platform to build the brand and everything. And does it really? And you've been a realtor, so does it really matter? The actual brand.
Are you asking if brand matters?
Does brand matter? And to what level does brand matter? And maybe who does it matter?
You mean does the real estate? Because obviously brand matters. Brand's the only thing that matters.
I'm talking
about
you mean brokerage.
Which brokerage you're associated with?
Does that matter to a certain level, or maybe it's to certain individuals, maybe new agents it matters, but those that are seasoned, very top producing agent, it doesn't really matter. The brand, but everyone was so upset about this, accusing or even speculating this was a thing.
Yeah.
And it's at the end of the day, if it is, great. Who cares? It's a business transaction, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's probably what's best for BHHS or Compass, either or. But don't get heartburn over it. But people are diehard Better Homes and Garden, diehard Remax, diehard. It's you're the brand.
Yeah.
I'm asking a lot of things in this, but I'm thinking of one realtor specifically, or a couple of them in Fresno that are very high producing individuals.
Yeah.
And all of their marketing doesn't even mention their brand. So if they left, let's say they were BHHS, and they're not, but let's say they are. If they left, no consumer would be like, oh, Tom left BHHS. Oh my, I'm going to stop using him. Oh, it's just no, you've built your brand, your book of business.
Yeah.
But they're so high, they're so focused on this.
Basically, they are the brand.
Yeah. And they're spending so much time on social or whatever advocating this is not happening.
Yeah.
And if it did, I think some people even said, if this is happening, I'm switching over here. If this is happening, I'm going over here. Right? And it's you shouldn't have to worry about that. If I was a realtor, if the brand was providing tools that I needed for my business that I couldn't financially support on my own or I couldn't figure it out elsewhere, then I will stick with the brand in the meantime because it's providing a value to me. So at what point do you look at a brand value? Is it brand or is it value? I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, just
There's
brand overall obviously matters, meaning like, you know, we've
Personal
been teaching
brand?
forever. Yeah, you need to be
Yes.
personal brand. On a brokerage level, so I'm going to answer that a couple different ways. As you just said that, in my head, what I thought to myself was, you know, when you say, you know, does the brand you're associated with matter? On some level, I do think it does, in the sense that a brand is never going to make you, but they can break you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And what I mean is, someone who's going to be successful is going to be successful anywhere. You know what I mean? So that brand's not going to make you. Now, can they enhance what you do? Absolutely. Like, I mean, I know people from major brands that, based on the network that they're involved in, based on the tools that are provided that they actually use, and they, you know, based on a lot of those things, it absolutely enhances what they're doing. Okay. Now, it doesn't make you, but can it break you? Sure. You get into a bad, stagnant, tools are terrible, kill you, whatever. Like, yeah, it can absolutely crush you, right? Mm-hmm. But what we really need to look at on a local level is, when you look at why people, I mean, the studies are out on this, why people leave a company or stay with a company. The number one reason is not brokerage, it's broker.
It's culture.
It's broker. It's the broker.
The leader.
They're connected to the leader. Yeah. It's the number one reason they stay, and it's the number one reason they leave.
I absolutely agree with that. I could think of a brokerage right now. A lot of people are loyal to one person versus the other, and they'll stick because that one person is there.
There you go.
Until that one person leaves, then they'll leave.
And
it's
you know
loyalty.
And you know what they'll do is they'll try to say, a lot of brokers who have a lot of people leave them, they'll try to tell you, oh no, that's not true. Like, it's money. You've got these companies coming in and they're offering higher splits, and they're, you know, they got this and they got that, and they'll try to point to that. But the problem is that it's kind of like going in on a listing and trying that you lost and asking them why you didn't get it. They never tell you the truth. Just like, oh, we just felt like this or whatever. But they don't tell you the truth because they don't want to hurt you. An agent who is willing to now come to you and leave you because of percentage or whatever, the only reason that they were willing to even have the conversation and get to the percentage conversation is because they already weren't happy with you. There was already something lacking. Mm-hmm. It's like trying to point to why people get divorced, or why a boyfriend-girlfriend break up, or why almost everything you point to is nothing but a symptom of the overall disconnection. It's not, you know, well, we got divorced because I caught them sleeping together in a car. And it's like, that's why. No. What you're missing is why they slept together in a car. Mm-hmm. It's because you're disconnected. It's because you are not connected. Yeah. It's because you are not. It's not that. It was this way beforehand. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, brokerage matters, yes, but broker matters even more. And I would say from a brand perspective, you know, the brand you're with, and there's many great brands, there's many crappy brands. The brand won't make you, but they can definitely break you, but they can enhance. There's no doubt about it. But I would tell any broker out there to stop pointing to the reasons they told you that they left you, and instead focus on why they were willing to get to those reasons. Why were they willing to get to those conversations? Yeah. Why were they willing to? You know, they were only willing to because they already felt disconnected. You know, that's what brings them to the place to try to find excuses to give you so that you don't feel bad. Yeah. Or they don't feel bad about leaving you. You know, it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I guess because I've never been an agent before, but I've worked alongside a brokerage. Yeah. That I think of, like, the value a brokerage brings to an agent is, oh, here's a list of tools that we have. You know, that's the value. Yeah. The tools, maybe the community, maybe the culture. It could be a culture fit, leadership. Yeah. But, you know, but also I sat in an MLS chair running a multiple listing service, and I could tell you, out of all the tools that we provided, maybe one or two were used heavily by agents. And so at some point, agents are more about maybe culture fit and chasing a logo for their brand versus leveraging the tools that these brokerages are investing in. Yeah. I also know that these agents that are top producing agents that I have in mind are investing outside of what even the brokerage provides, you know? And I mean,
some are, yeah.
And some of them don't even use a CRM that the brokerage provides. They have their own. They don't want to use what the broker is offering, you know? And all that stuff. So it's interesting because like going through your comments, people were either, I'm going over here if this is happening, I'm going over here if this is happening. They're all of a sudden so easy to jump ship.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Like, just calm down
so
for a minute.
emotional, so whatever. And again, it's the whole, you know the old line, right? It's like the grass is greener, the grass is greener. And it's like, hey, if the grass is always greener on the other side, you need to start watering your own lawn. You know, at some
Caring
point,
for it, yeah.
at some point, there's a common denominator here, you know? And so, you know, the same people, the only part where you do start to run into some potential issues is, I'm thinking of one right now where there was an acquisition, and I'm not going to name the name and I don't want to name the brand, but like they're acquiring a lot of companies right now, and one of the companies they just acquired is not their model. And so it becomes, you know, because you have 100% models, you've got 50-50 models, you've got 70-30 models, you've got all these different models. And it's like if you're a 100% model and then you buy a company that's generally a 60-40 or a 70-30 or something like that, it does bring on an interesting thing, because if you bring all those agents in and you try to switch them over, you're now completely changing what they know and why they picked the place they were at and why this mattered to them and why it worked for them. And that does start to get a little like, you can't really blame people. You know, where you're like that. I had options. There's a seat for every butt, and I chose this seat. I did not choose this seat. That's a different thing. That's not just, I don't like that brand, I don't like how they are in my area. Now that becomes, you're changing my business model. That's a different thing. You know, and there is something to be said for like, yeah, there's a lot of companies that offer things and the agents don't use them, and then there's companies that offer things and the agents use them. You know, we've you know, I'm thinking of a couple right now that use like our FyrstUp tool, right? And it's like, this is a huge advantage to them. It's a huge advantage. And then you got other ones who sign up and leave and never implemented anything. And it's like, okay, well all right, you didn't do anything. Like it's, you know, so I can see it from all perspectives, no doubt about it. I
feel like that as long as it aligns with your business goals, if the company aligns with your business goals, and you know, outside of culture and feelings, then it probably is a good fit.
Your point is you're an independent contractor. Like you need to be able to fit wherever.
Exactly.
But yeah. But again, there are business model changes that are a real thing, you know, that we have to pay attention to, that actually do matter, based on the type of business somebody wants to run in their independent contractor business, you know? You know, a taxi driver and a CDL truck driver are both independent contractor drivers, but those are two completely different rides. So if you're driving taxis and one day, you know, some company buys you and says, all right, we're moving over to box trucks now, it's easy to say, oh, you're still driving, but it's like, no, you're not. No, it's a little different. And so there is more to it than just whatever, it's a company, you're independent contractors. There is more to it than that. At the same time, more important than the overall brand is your brand. Have you built it enough to where it can survive anywhere and it can thrive anywhere? But they all matter. It's just a matter of how much do they matter. But even more important than the overall is the local broker. That's what actually matters.
I understand that quite a lot. Yeah. And
so,
people do have loyalties too, to certain individuals, and they're only there because of that individual.
Oh, 100, yeah. And they're like, you know, I mean, look, I've seen people retire and then a bunch of people leave. I've seen, you know, all sorts of situations like that because they're so loyal to the person, you know, which makes sense. Another thing that happened recently that I'm actually really hoping happens. So I made a video about a year ago. I made a couple videos, and I basically called out the idea of like, what is up with capital gains tax not moving? You know, capital gains, you know, when you look at capital gains exemptions, right? It was in the US, if you're an individual and you live in a home primarily for 2 out of 5 years, on the profit of your sale, you have an exemption of up to $250,000. We just took advantage of this with your house, okay? As a married couple.
Our house.
Yes. I mean, you were the only one on the title of that.
Everything's ours, though. I give you my house.
It is now, but I'm just saying, you were on title. You had it previous. Okay, so it's our profit.
Yes,
I like that.
Profit.
Okay, but if you're a married couple, you have an exception of $500,000, and those laws were passed in 1997. And you know, I've been saying this forever, and it's like, why has it not changed? Can we all agree values have skyrocketed since then? I don't know why it's not regional. Like, you know, $500,000 goes way further in Mississippi than it does in New York City, and yet it's the same rule everywhere. And then I hear from people like, oh, it's too difficult, you know, to change it and to do this and that. And then I said to this person, I go, well, don't they reassess property taxes every year?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, and what's the difference? The difference is one of them, when the value goes up, you're collecting more taxes as a government, so we find a way to reassess whether it's accurate or not. And on the other end, it's a tax exemption that you would be losing money going to the federal government. So we can't, in 30 years, figure out how to figure this out again. Like, it's insane. So NAR came out with a bill that they're trying to get passed, and this would be a good thing that NAR did if they get it passed, where I don't know that it's enough, but at least it's something, where they want to raise the individual exemption from $250,000 to $500,000 and the married couple exemption from $500,000 to $1 million, and so double it. Which is way past due, because it was 28 years ago that we set these exemptions when values were way less than what they're at right now. And it just makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense to do that.
So when do you think when are we expected to hear back?
I don't know. They'll probably vote in the next couple of months, I'm sure. But
well, yeah, because I mean, I think mid-year is May.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, so I made videos about this last year, just going, what is the deal? And so it's nice to see that this is at least getting brought up. But I'll tell you right now, if they don't pass that, they've got some answering to do. Because you certainly reassess property taxes every year, you know? And really it's just a matter of what's coming in, and, you know, it's a self-interest type of a thing, which is thoroughly annoying. I'm not thrilled about it, but whatever. What else?
So other big news do we have?
Clear cooperation.
Oh yeah, that just happened this week?
Yeah. The big talk in the industry has been clear cooperation. This is why, by the way, the whole thing with Compass buying BHHS was such a big deal, because it doubles their size. And Robert Reffkin, the CEO of Compass, has come out and been very clear about the idea that he wants to be able to market from Compass to Compass agents, keep it away from everybody else, to see if they can double end the sale before having to put it on the MLS, which according to Clear Cooperation, once you publicly market, you have to put it on the MLS within 1 business day. And he's made it clear that I think people have kind of misunderstood what he's saying too. He did come out and say at first it was just Compass to Compass, but he did say that he wanted to share with everybody. He just doesn't think you should have to put it on the MLS.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of debate about that. Obviously he feels that way. My buddy Leo, CEO of EXP, feels completely different. A lot of other CEOs feel completely different. But NAR's kind of punted on that a few times now. And now they came out and they said that clear cooperation stays, but they are adding a new status when you put a property into the MLS, which still needs to be within 1 business day of marketing publicly. But that status is an exempt status that allows you to keep it from going out to any kind of IDX feeds or third-party feeds for an amount of time that is determined by your local MLS. And so basically it would go on the MLS, but it wouldn't, so it'd have access to the agents and such, but it would not go out to the portals and these other feeds, which is so interesting because you know the portals, Zillow and all them, are not going to like that. You know that is not. I'm not 100% understanding what the point of that was. If I'm being completely pure, I know what my other side of my mind says, which is with all of the talk lately that what do you need an MLS for? Soon Zillow and all these places will just take over and you don't need an MLS. If you really look at it, these rules that were now put in place are a way of saying, screw the portals. Now you can do, but it has to be on the MLS.
I know. I feel like they're
putting the MLS front and center.
I feel like coming from an MLS, I feel like they know NAR or maybe the MLSs are feeling that they're losing data.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Or they're losing value.
Yeah, absolutely. So now what they're doing is they have a really vague rule. There's no complete direction on it.
Yeah.
First of all, they clarified a rule, which was, agent to agent, or actually
listing broker to broker is fine. You could verbally talk back and forth. That's fine. It's not violation. Doesn't trigger anything, which everyone knew already.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't know because they were so fixated on the actual rule.
Yeah.
But we could have done that all along.
Yep.
You know, public marketing literally, and there's a video out there which they took down a while ago that NAR specifically indicated what public marketing was.
Yeah.
And it was like physical, so signs, posters, whatever it is. It was that. I can't find it anywhere anymore because I was looking for it.
Yeah.
But now it's like MLS regulations. So MLSs are going to define how this looks like. So just so they could have more citation policies and collect more money off of it. But I was telling you this. It honestly feels like a coming soon rule.
Yeah.
Put it in here. It's excluded, but we're still going to shuffle it around other agents that are in the database.
If somebody has a buyer who has a saved search in the MLS, it'll go to them. Yeah.
So why could the MLS publicly market it within their database? It's with a client detail report and all this other stuff, but yet you, the agent that actually secured the listing, cannot do it.
Yeah.
Whatsoever, and if you do, you get fined. So it's interesting how they're doing that, but also this plays two different roles. So it doesn't go to third parties. It has to go into the MLS. But because we know that it still gets shared with buyers amongst the database, agents are going to want to put buyer data in there too. So MLSs are really looking for just data, a whole bunch of data.
Well, think about it. When the whole settlement thing happened, and all of a sudden one of the main purposes of that MLS was not just the data, but it was the compensation. This is where you knew what you were being compensated. And once that got taken away, you were left with many agents going, so what's the point of the MLS?
Exactly.
We could just do this. We could just take our listings and put them over here, put them over there. So
rules.
to me, this is an effort to try and create value in these places. And say, look, this is the value. We do this. You can't do that. And so through their own self-imposed rules, say there is value here. Look what we're doing. This makes sense. This is happening here. And without that, you wouldn't have that. But it's all based on the rules they're setting to create the value. You know, which I guess is their right to do that. You know, they're an MLS, and you could decide whether to be a member or not, or whatever. But it is interesting.
It is, and then you have, I mean, we don't know what Michael Ketchmark's going to do, but he was very much
I think
against.
we know. I think he's going to sue again.
Yes, individual brokerages though. I think he's against. We all know he's completely against that. I don't think he's going to go after NAR. I think he'll go after brokerages that continue to implement Clear Co-op.
I could see him go after MLSs around the idea that you are still keeping everything in-house amongst the agents, which is not the free market, because by not allowing it to go to Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com, and Redfin and all these places, a potential buyer or seller, a potential buyer will only see the property if they step into your organized system of agents. And it is not available to the free market unless you buy into our system. I could see him doing that. And going, if I'm just somebody who represents myself, whatever, and I used to go to Zillow, and I used to go to Homes.com, and I used to go to, now I can't see it unless I buy into your ring of crime where you have to have an agent, and you have to have the MLS, and you have to have, like, I'm not saying I agree, I'm just saying, like, that's the argument I'm making. I'm like, that's not the free market. You're once again not allowing the free market to be exposed. You're once again not allowing a seller to have maximum exposure because they can only be exposed if they work with one of your cronies. That's what he's going to say. Yeah, that's what he's going to say. Watch. That's what's coming. Okay. You know,
so that's going to be interesting, and I think
it's an interesting argument because on one hand it does make sense.
Very soon.
That argument makes sense, but then the argument becomes, who says that you have to put it out there? Like, we are a closed, private, paid-for system. We are that's what you get by working with a professional agent, is you get access to their closed,
and the seller has
paid-for
a choice not
system.
To work with one or to work with one.
And that's the other free market. Like, you can see how you can bounce it back and forth and make sense both ways. You know, and then it just comes down to, can you find a jury dumb enough to go one way or the other? Which we already found out they can.
Yeah.
You know, so going to be interesting.
It is.
Aside from that, we started personal, it's end personal. You just went through, well, we're waiting to close.
We're
hopefully
to
closing tomorrow. But sold,
I know,
Not done yet. But hey, we're at the end of the tunnel, but you've sold your house. And
this is my second time in 2 years.
You've been a little
moving.
stressed the last week.
Very stressful. A lot of anxiety. Like I actually got in the car yesterday. I was like, I'm not sure why I feel so anxious, but it's just there's so much going on with moving and then getting into another home, and obviously we live on 2 different coasts, right?
So you say continents.
No, it feels like it.
Feels like it, yeah.
But like so, and you help as much as you can. Like Jared got movers for me. We got these scheduled stuff to get like, mounted and all this stuff, but it's still hard. It's exhausting. And then I have the kids, and then they have their activities. So it's been very rough. But I think I was telling you. So escrow is supposed to close tomorrow. Originally closed the 31st of March, and I am a date person. So you say 31st, great. Planned certain things, ready to go to the house and clean on the 30th, get things out the 31st, and then like surprise, we're moving it up. We're moving it up a couple days. And usually everyone's so excited.
Can we move it up?
No, not necessarily.
No, but you called me like they want to,
No. The buyer paid extra for a solar to move.
Yeah, but they still can't make you move up the date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
they had to have your agreement. You had to get the stuff out of the house. You had to be able to make that happen.
And then right away I went into panic mode because I'm not there. We're closing escrow. I'm here, and that means, which is fine. I don't have to physically be there, but the house wasn't completely like.
Well, you were leaving the next day, and there was still stuff in the house, and you're like, I'd have to get over there now, and I have to go do this,
and
I have to go.
I'm a neat freak. I want the house to be cleaned. I know I don't need to deep clean a house. I understand that, and they don't expect that. But I want a house to be clean before buyers
Do
move
you
in.
understand that? Yeah.
Buyers, Jared's like, people don't normally do a deep cleaning on a house before move-in. I'm like, well, when they do their final walkthrough, I want them to be super excited and happy about their house. But anyways, I just put probably added stress on me, and I'm excited. It's gonna close.
It was an interesting conversation because I said to you, sit down. I said to you, because you were kind of like, you were worried about it and you're stressing and you were doing whatever, and it was just kind of like a larger moment where I just said, babe, I'm not, look, no woman wants you to go, just calm down, that's always a great.
Are you sure?
Yeah, great, yeah, exactly. It's a great way, guys, if you're ever in an argument with a woman, you just look at her and you say, calm down.
That works.
That always works out really well.
60% of the time.
It works 60% of the time. It works none of the time. But I said to you, we were talking, and I just said, babe, I'm not discrediting the fact that you feel stressed. I'm not discrediting the whatever. But I said the one thing I don't want to have happen is I don't want you to allow all of your fear of the unknowns and all these things to steal the joy of all of the good that is happening right now. Meaning, if we play that game and we look at perspective, we could have a deal falling apart. We could have a deal that never happened. We could have, and I said, babe, we sold quickly. We got a price we wanted. We had nothing requested after the inspection. And now we're closing after the 2-year exemption, so we're not going to pay all sorts of taxes and everything on the profit. And now they want to move the closing up, which means we're going to have to hustle a little bit, get a little stressed, but it means we'll make more money on the payoff, be done with it, and move on. I just said, look, I am not saying the other side is not true as well. Yeah. What I'm saying is, let's not 100% ignore all of the great things that are happening right now and allow all of the joy from that to be taken over by the stress of the other side, right? And like that was my only point. Acknowledge the stress, it's real. Moving is stressful, we know that. But let's just also acknowledge like this could be worse. Got a great price, we sold quick, we're moving in, it's just like awesome, Works out perfectly timing wise from moving from one house to the other. The new house is gorgeous. You love the new house. I know you've been posting little videos and pics and.
Oh yeah, little sneak peeks on stuff.
Yeah, like little stuff like that, and I just think that's so important. Like, acknowledge the stress. It's real. It's whatever, but do not let it eat your lunch. Do not let it eat your lunch on the amazingness of what's happening. to where if the opposite of that happened, we'd be going, God, what would I do to have that happen? What would I do to have that situation you're in right now, you know? Hey guys, I want to talk to you about an amazing real estate tool right now called Mosaik. You know, if you want to take your people off of the portals where they're all hanging out and whatever and into your ecosystem, this is the tool that does that. You know, this is a beginning to end, not a CR, it's not another CRM, it doesn't replace that, but it's a beginning to end system that really looks at the lifetime value of your client and looks at every part of that process and takes care of all of it in a way that's completely transparent. So yes, they've got search, they've got transaction coordination, they've got, you know, even for us, when we do things like we teach our students the Core 100, they've got the ability to put those people in there, track what's happening, do all of that in an amazing way. But probably the thing that I love about this more than anything is the transparency. You know, in an industry that keeps talking about transparency, and usually when you hear something over and over again, it means that it's not being done at all. This is actually a transparent tool. This is the first tool that I've seen that actually brings the consumer into the transaction. And I think that is the next level of where we are going within this industry. You know, you hear from so many buyers and sellers that, oh, my agent didn't do anything, or I feel like they're not, and there's not this communication going on. This is the first tool I've seen, almost like the early days of .loop where you had that collaboration, but it was just for the document and the signature. They can do that with the transaction now, not only with the clients, but with the vendors, whoever it is, in an amazing way where they can see every step of what's going on. You can write notes to them back and forth. They can see every part of the paperwork and everything and the way that you decide to show it. It's really the next level of what we need to be doing from a consumer experience perspective, so they know what's happening, and more importantly, we drive that lifetime value back to you. So if you haven't yet, guys, this is a tool you're going to hear over and over again. You're going to hear me talk about it because you know, I really think it's my role to not just, you know, define what the problems or solutions are, but provide the tools that will actually get you there. And while so many tools right now are just check the box and just say you have them, this is one yourself, your team, your brokerage. You know, if you're not on it yet, you need to be. This is not the last you're going to hear about this. They're going to grow astronomically, and this is something you need to get on board with if you're going to operate. If you're going to be one of those people that really overcomes and is that top producer in your area, you've got to have the right tools in place, and Mosaik is one of those right now. So do yourself a favor. Go check out mosaik.io, mosaik.io. Again, mosaik.io. You won't regret it, guys. Send us questions if you do, but this is one of those ones that you're going to look back on and remember, amazing tool. Yeah. I saw a video the other day. I might even do like an Instagram or a TikTok on this. It was so good. The lady was, it started off and she said something like, imagine 85-year-old you gets one day to go back and be 29 again. And then it starts flipping through pictures and it goes, what would you do to have your kids' stuff all over the house and be angry that they cluttered everything and whatever? What would you do to have your children fighting with each other in your house and doing, what would you do? And it started flipping through and I was like, oh my God, I think I want to do a post like that. You know, it's because like, you know, I'm like a neat freak. And so my kids, one of my kids in particular is amazing at taking stuff out. I mean, he's all time. He gets it done. But once it's out, he loses all ability to put it back.
God forbid he ever robs a jewelry store. He'll leave everything behind. He'll know exactly who it is.
Oh my
Every
God!
evidence will be there.
If it's not putting the seat down, it's the guitar on the sofa. It's the milk is left out. It's the pan is not cleaned. It's the you know, it's just
clogged.
Like, dude, you know. And I started, you know, I tell you all the time, right? Because we split custody, right? Like most of the time when I'm home, I have my kids though, because it's we kind of work my travel around that. And I say to you sometimes, it's so nice sometimes when like it's quiet and, you know, you just, because I'm such a loner, you know, but I always say there's 3 people on this planet I can be around and I can still relax, you know, you and my 2 boys, right? And I can still regain strength. It's you and my 2 boys. And that's how I knew I wanted to marry you, by the way, because I was like, oh, I can actually recharge. But you know, I say all the time sometimes, it's like when they're there and then they're gone and like the house cleaner comes and it's amazing because you're just like, oh, it's so clean, it's so whatever. But then a part of me just kind of goes though like,
like you missed the garage
I kind of like the noise and I kind of like that you left that out and I kind of like you know?
I kind of like how you left it out.
Yeah, you know.
just so I could be like, put
it away.
Love it when
you clog the toilet. You know, I love it when you,
This morning I was like, babe, what are you doing? I'm unclogging the toilet. What do you think I'm doing? Again?
I just want to be clear, not mine.
The boys.
Okay.
The boys.
It's a flip side. We get them great toilet paper, but they,
we digress.
It's thick, but yeah, it's
Moving is a challenge, but I'm glad.
We should do a post like that, though. By the way, we should do a post like, you're 85. You got 1 day to go back and be 21 again.
23.
23 again. 23. I was wrong. And just kind of like go through, like the things that you complain about now that are actually, that was the point I was making. We're so programmed to like notice what's wrong and notice what's whatever. It's like sometimes the things you're complaining about are the greatest blessings of your life. Like they're if you were to start this process at the beginning and say, what does a perfect process look like? What is it? It's almost exactly what's happened, And so when that happens, I'm just like, let's just acknowledge that for what it is and realize that, the good news is, and we're doing it all at once like we always do. You're moving that. We're moving our offices.
A friend of mine, a sweet friend of mine, or actually, if I could be a little more detailed, but my ex-husband's ex-wife, the other ex-wife. Her and I have become really close now.
Yeah. But you're referring to yourself in like some weird third person.
No, but
they weren't allowed to talk when they were together, but now they found out they actually like each other a lot.
She messaged me because I went through just an emotional breakdown last week, and she's like, "Lindsay, you're going through a lot. You're moving. You're trying to settle a new home. You're moving out of your old home. Jared's in Portugal, so he's unavailable. And also, he lives on the East Coast. Like, you guys are bi-coastal. You have the kids. You're practically a single mom when you have them. You're doing this, doing that, and it's like it's a lot, and it is a lot.
Yeah.
So to have grace a little bit, in this whole thing but it's nice to know that the house is like, whether or not it closes escrow tomorrow, which we hope it does, that is done.
Yeah.
And now I just need to spend a little more money in our new house.
A little more money. My card is declining left and right because they think
card.
It's fraud.
It's declining left and right. It's your card.
The amount of times her card has declined the past, I almost called the bank to be like, is there something wrong? What's going on here?
His card is fine. My card is declining. I personally think that you put a limit to my card.
It's not a bad idea. Put a limit,
I tried to pay my DMV. I'm like, baby, this one is real. We need to,
oh my God, it's so true though. Like but it's funny though because people don't realize like my card declines all the time too because I'm all over the place and they think it's fraud. So like every time it declines, I'm just like, hold on, let me check. Go on your text message. It's me.
It's so embarrassing. So I'm at like Lowe's and it declines, and so I tell the lady, he's in Portugal. She's like, okay.
So I don't know what that means, but we're gonna need $21.32.
We have the same card.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or you're not walking out with that carpet. Yeah.
And it's gonna need to be in USD.
She's over there trying to pay with IOUs. I swear, my husband is good for it.
And then
please, sir, just let me leave.
I use my other card, which Jared's not on, and he's like, I want the points. I'm like, I can't give you the points.
Like, don't use that card. Like, come on.
This is very stressful.
I'm like, work it out. Work it out,
First world problems.
Yeah, very much so. But regardless, it is, it's funny because it's been something that's been, stressful and, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, and I said to you too, because like, again, I'm such a perspective person. Even in the beginning when you were stressing about it, you're like, well, what if we get this? What if we get that? And I'm like, babe, if it doesn't sell, we're fine.
Yeah.
Like, I always go to worst case scenario. My head always goes worst case and then goes, can I live with that? It's how I kind of risk assess, And I'm like, babe, because you were freaking out about it. Not freak. I say freaking out. Just so you guys know, Linda freaking out is not like a normal person's freaking out. It's part of one of the things I love about her is like, she doesn't really like, she just, I can tell when she's internally combusting.
Yeah.
And I said to you back then, I'm like, babe, worst case, sits on the market. We don't sell it. We maybe decide to rent it, or we don't, or whatever. Who cares? I'm like, it does not change our life at all.
Yeah.
Not in one bit. Like, sometimes you just kind of have to create that perspective to just kind of be like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it matters because you want it to go well, but it's not that it's not worth the stress, is what I'm saying. Are you videoing me right now?
Yeah, I did. And then the dog,
I'm over here dropping gold. Okay?
For our viewers
and you're
our listeners.
videoing me.
Well, because the dog keeps pulling my shoelaces.
Speaking of shoes.
Well, this is really embarrassing because I've been videoing this entire thing.
Yeah, her doing. Yeah, exactly, exactly. By the way, you like the new grays?
I do.
Yeah, you know I'm a shoe guy.
Okay.
These are my P90s, but this is instead of in ultra white, this is in gray.
Everyone, he loves P90s. Okay, so get whatever color.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee he will wear them, but
Size 10 and a half.
10 and a half.
I do love them. They're nice. They're cozy. I wear them with everything I possibly can.
Didn't someone get you some custom Remax ones?
Well, I've gotten more than just custom Remax. I've gotten custom shoes from people. Yeah. I get all sorts of gifts, honestly, and sometimes they're good ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know who also is a big shoe guy?
Who?
Sharon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, he has a lot of shoes. I don't know. I'm just letting you know.
I was sitting there going, and he, by the way,
that's a big news thing too.
That is.
He announced that he's stepping down from his role.
Yeah, that is good for him.
Honestly, yeah, that is great.
Good for him.
He recognizes.
I heard it was a family thing. Like you want to be with the kids. I respect that. That's I so get that.
Some people also are heartbroken over that. We very much like we talked about Brand.
Talking about
right?
He was the president of Real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
good
we
for him.
talked
though.
about Brand, but it was a personal move for him.
If that's the reason, it's personal. It's for the kids. It's whatever. Right move. Completely right move.
And he grew that brand so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like I said. You'll never regret doing something for your kids. Oh, I had a conversation yesterday with Noah.
Okay.
That was, I didn't, but I could have gotten emotional, because, look, to build, like we talk now and it's like no big deal, and oh, I'm off to, Portugal, I'm off to this, I'm off to that. But like what people don't talk about is like the transition between when I left real estate and I got into this side, and like how difficult those years were, and how you are going everywhere for nothing. Like we won't get into it now, but like, I'll go do an event now and it's a good amount of money. It's like, literally you almost feel like it's like a spit in the face of the people, like your mother who raised you, who worked her whole year and made that, and it's just like, so you're just like, oh my God, like, but then you understand the difference between value and, whatever. But in the beginning, you're just going everywhere. It's like somebody who was a musician back in the day when they were hawking CDs out the trunk of their car, and then they're filling arenas and making money and they're doing, whatever. But like in the beginning, I was going anywhere someone would allow me for nothing, and in many cases paying my own way, like losing money to go do it. And you always worry about it because, like, you'll never regret spending more time with your kids. But there's this balance that occurs between like the hustle and then, the hustle redefined, about hustling for your family and hustling for your kids and hustling for, and you're not being honest with yourself if you don't question when you get older, like, was I okay? Did I because you go so much, And I had this really cool conversation with Noah, where we talked about, he asked me where I was going next and, whatever. And, they're older now, but they still, my boys like being with me and stuff. So like, it's still tough. I miss them like crazy when I go anywhere, even now to this day. And we just started talking about when he was a kid and me going and doing events and having to go all over the place and do whatever. And we just had this really honest conversation where I'm just like, so I'm like, did I screw up? Like, did I, did you ever feel, whatever, like you weren't first, or like you weren't, like, I know the answer in my head of like, why you're doing things and where your heart's at and whatever, but you still, it doesn't matter what you think. Like, it matters the person that you're talking to, and he's like, honestly, Dad, like you probably spent more quality time with us and more than like any of the dads I know, like you were like, even now, like how we hang out and we do things and, whatever. He's like, I never felt like, he goes, obviously it was tough sometimes when you're gone because like you just want your dad there all the time. But he kind of just basically said in his way of saying it, like, you're so present, like you were so present with us. You're so, like, even now, like.
I think it's when you're present, you're very intentional.
Yeah.
So the moments that you were there, it was eyes on them.
Yeah, it's like let's do stuff. Let's go to your thing. Let's go do this. Let's go do whatever. And so anyway, we had this really cool conversation, and my whole point in saying any of that was, for someone like Sharon, who, the rumor is, this isn't what they said publicly, but the rumor from what I heard from some people I know was that it was a family thing. It was to get back and be with his family and not miss that and not, whatever. And I don't know if that's true or not, so I'm not putting out that it's just what I heard. But you'll never regret, not over leveraging, but like just overdoing it on the side of, you know, your kids or your family or whatever. You know, so if you're ever not sure, push the easel that way, you know. That's something you'll never regret. Yeah. So if that's the reason, awesome. Yeah. Like that's a good thing to do. You know, reassess, figure it out. You know, your kids don't get young again. You know, they only go one direction. And the older they get, the more time you spend with them, the more you're able to celebrate the new seasons they're in because you don't regret the old ones. You know, someone asked me the other day, I don't know if it was you or someone else, and they were like, do you ever miss them being young? And I'm like, yeah, in the sense that I loved them when they were young, but I don't want to change it. I love it where they're at now. We have different relationships now. We have different things we do. We have different, you know, so you enjoy that season. And then you know, it's like, do you miss spring? Well, sure, but now I'm enjoying summer. I don't want to go back. I don't want to, you know. And so if that's the reason, that's a good reason. And you know.
Also excited to see what he's going to do next.
More power to you.
You know, knowing him, he's jumped a few places, very successful in each one of them. So excited to see. Obviously, he's on the board of directors still.
Yeah.
We'll be there, but
what
the next actual venture will be for him. You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. And then other things coming up right now. I'm on like a thing right now. Like you'll notice that a lot of the companies I'm mentioning a lot of the same companies over and over, and that's not an accident. Obviously, like I'm at a place now where people will endorse, they'll you know, like either you know, want to work with me or want to do whatever, and we don't do all of them. It's like, okay, what's good for our people? What's good for the industry?
Well,
where are
first
things
of all,
going?
It's like if it had like your buy-in. If you were an agent, you would invest in the tool.
Yeah.
You would use the tool. It's all about what you would do first before you're like, oh, the dollar, you know, chasing the dollar.
Yeah,
or
it's basically like I kind of future cast and go, okay, where are things going? What are the tools people are going to need to get there?
Yeah.
And we've done that with a few right now that you've heard me mention over and over again. And I've got another one that will be announced soon that is more for brokerages from the perspective of from an intranet kind of thing, being able to kind of create that app store as a brokerage where you've got everything in one place for your people, you know, from your forms to your training that you offer them, to the various tools that you use, to the just everything in one place, able to track everything, able to make it easy for them, one sign in, and so we'll have, if everything goes well in the near future, I'll start promoting that as something that needs to happen because that's where our industry's going. I won't go into it right now. We'll do a big thing on this at the advance, but the app storification is what's happening to our industry right now. And if you don't take advantage of that, if you don't both as an agent create the app store your consumers operate in, if as a broker you don't create the app store that your agents operate in, they're going to get into somebody else's. And once they're in there, they're not leaving. Do you know how difficult it is for an Apple user to jump to a Droid? Like, do you know how difficult it is? Like, that's how they get you.
Or
and
Droid to Apple. Like Tom's not so
It'll
committed
never
to his
happen.
Android. He'll never go blue.
Tom, God.
He will always be green.
100%.
So frustrating.
Yes.
God, it says something about you.
So
It does.
It's like you're such an easy person to work with in all areas of your life.
minus.
And then there's that one thing that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you said, I just need to be difficult.
Yeah.
In something.
Yeah. And that's where it is. I saved it.
We try to be
Here she
serious
is.
that we have to just like.
He's like, I gotta, you know?
Well. Oh God.
Watch that mic there with your hair spinning around and stuff.
Sorry. I had to get used to this wireless.
Yeah.
How bad was the sound in the beginning? Were you gonna be able to use the beginning of this podcast? Think
Yeah,
so?
it's
We're gonna have
just-
to put up a little thing. Sorry for some sound stuff in the beginning.
I tried to navigate around it. It just didn't work out, so I had
You
to
blame it on
address
my mic?
Blame it on the forehead glare.
Blame it on all the mics. It was all the mics.
Forehead glare.
Oh my God. Anyway, anything else we want to talk about, guys?
Yeah.
As the time goes on here in this space, guys, we're gonna have background stuff and we'll have greenery and we'll have, all that kind of stuff. Right now, we're just kind of setting up and we're not even moved in yet.
That's
to be
Tom's
completely
other
honest.
job.
That is true.
We are not
Interior
moved
designer.
in. Yeah, Tom's been a big, huge help, by the way. While I've been away,
know.
setting everything
Thank you
up
so
and
much.
Of course, what I do.
everything but getting on Apple.
That's true. Well, I've got the Apple computer.
Yes.
You don't even know your password.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
You don't know the Apple ID.
I don't know my Apple ID.
Okay,
password.
Tom
It's
had
just-
one thing to say.
Oh yeah, no, it just all this kind of reminded me of this thing that I found like a few days ago, and it's a really weird picture. It's a bird talking to a person, but what the bird is saying. It says you must learn to proceed without certainty, and that resonated with me, so I had to share it. And,
and you should actually share that with whenever you.
Have you seen the quote before that it says it basically is the idea that a bird is comfortable on a branch because its faith is not in the branch, it's in its wings.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's
sweet.
kind of like that. Yeah. You
It's
kinda
the
got
it's
the
the
quote
I,
right.
it's the idea of like I don't know how everything's going to go, and I don't know about all these things that I can't control.
Just bet on yourself.
But I know that I'm going to be involved.
Yeah.
And I got this, you know? And so a bird's confidence doesn't come from the branch, it comes from the wings. That even if the branch breaks,
Absolutely.
I'm a bird. I got this, you know? And there's a lot of truth in that. That's almost like a very entrepreneurial quote, but it's coming from a
it's so true though.
prehistoric tiny little bird.
Or government agency, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, anything else we want to discuss? Anything else?
So Mastermind coming up. We have stuff
Social
for the
Mastermind. Go to jaredjamestoday.com/social mastermind. I better have that up by the time you put this out. jaredjamestoday.com/social mastermind, which that's going to sell out quick, guys. The advance, we're going to start getting into the mode of promoting the advance.
Right now, sponsors are still good. We're looking for a few more sponsors, but that's almost
We just launched
a point
that.
too.
Yeah. Sponsors almost got jaredjamestoday.com/advance would be for the advance. Guys, get to the advance in September, guys. That's the one that's not the 15, 20 people in a suite. That's the masses. And we got a lot to talk about. I'm doing an interview coming up. So Lab Code Agents, the Facebook group, I think they have 150, 200,000 members of their group. They want to talk about all this stuff that's been going on in the industry and all of these mergers and acquisitions and what they mean and commissions and lawsuits and what's coming and whatever. And so I'm doing a thing with them on
that's on Facebook.
I want to say April 2nd. It's going to be, if you go to their group, Lab Code Agents, there's a Zoom link that you have to register for. I don't know what they're going to ask me, what it's going to be, but it's not my platform, so I feel like I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so I told them I would do that. So we're doing that April 2nd. That'll be fun. Outside of that, just a lot of events coming up. A lot of now that we're in the new space. For those of you that are in Jared James Academy, again, jaredjamestoday.com/academy. We've got more courses now that are going to be added. We've got all sorts of really cool stuff that's going to be added there because we now have the space to do it.
The space is awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait for people to see like the different backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah, the different backgrounds, and we did a training today with one of the backgrounds. We did a training yesterday with one of the backgrounds.
Yeah, we had 3
real
setups.
nice,
So it's nice.
Yeah, this one, like I said, this is just kind of a chill setup, but there'll be more stuff, more greenery.
Yeah. Once Tom gets out of here.
Yeah.
And go shopping. Oh, you're off tomorrow?
I am, yeah.
Lazy.
Lazy.
Are you
that's
working
I take back everything I said, guys. I take back everything I said. Tom is a lazy,
That's true.
ungrateful. No.
No.
Tom was a huge help during all of this because I had to leave and it was like we had so much time before we get back. So he was just working on the railroad over here.
It was great. I brought my like Bluetooth speaker.
It is kind of nice, right? Like setting. I told him the other day because like you were like, Tom's there, dude. I'm like, I would like that. Like it's just set it up, put my headphones
You were setting
in.
up here. I was setting up at home.
Yeah.
It
It was great.
Working
Mind you, there were a couple tables I couldn't flip over, but other than that, I think I did. I think I did all right.
Yeah. No, you did.
Meanwhile, I didn't say this. So when I left Czech Republic, I had long flights through France and an 11-hour flight into Dallas. And so because of all the time zone changes, which completely throws you off, on the 11-hour flight, I had one of those lay-down beds. So I went out in Czech Republic. My car was picking me up at 4:30 a.m. So I hung out till 4 a.m., went to my car, slept on the plane.
Hung out, he means by partying. He partied out till 4 a.m.
I was at the after party with the Czechs.
Wow.
And then
Not
they
the chicks,
told
the
me
Czechs, okay?
they told me where they told me we were jumping around. We went to 90s bars. We went to it was super cool.
Oh, yeah.
So their music they all listen to is English.
Yeah.
I I'm like, how? That'd be like us walking into a bar and then be like, you know, like whatever. Like, it'd be like, what? Like, that makes no sense.
I know.
You know,
It's
but that's
so
what they do. They
crazy.
listen to English music. And so, yeah, I made a decision. I was up for over 24 hours. And I said, this is the only way I'm going to be able to sleep on a plane. And I did. And then I woke up and I said, where are those zzz pills at?
Go back to
Let
sleep.
me go grab those puppies, and I went back to sleep. And then I showed up. It was so funny too when I showed up at Dallas at this event. I've done it many years in a row, so I know a lot of the people there. I specifically brought a hat and a hoodie just so I could walk in with bang bang, just go check in and get on my elevator without having to run into anybody, because I probably looked unrecognizable.
Yeah.
I was so tired.
Yeah.
So tired. And then next morning, woke up, back to normal. Here we go. Keynote to English-speaking people. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Bam.
Good times.
You have to do all this again next week, huh?
I know. Well, you're going to meet me in Portugal, though.
In a couple weeks. And he's coming to California with the boys for the first time.
I am coming.
Sweet.
I am coming
Yeah.
to California
So anyways,
with
a
the
lot
boys.
of travel.
I was going to mess with you right now, but I can't even do it. I would feel bad.
What would you
I was
have?
going to say, oh, babe, I actually didn't talk to you yet, but we had to cancel.
That would not have been good.
I know. That's why I didn't do it. That's why I didn't
The
do
jokes
it.
that you have.
I know.
When it comes to
Oh,
me are
you have
not
no
funny.
idea. Things go through my head.
Yeah.
No, but I couldn't do it because I felt bad. Because even for that split second when you would have heard it,
Like, babe, we actually need to talk. If you said, "Babe, need to
I
talk
would have
to you
felt
about that,"
terrible.
I'd be like,
I
"What?"
told Noah when he went in for his driver's test, we made some rules. You do not come out here and act like you failed. We're not playing that joke.
Yeah.
You failed or you passed. We're not joking. Like, I need to set the ground rules right now because I can't handle that.
Yeah.
That moment where I thought you failed and then it's not funny. It's not funny at all.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I couldn't do it to you.
Yeah, you should not.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Just leaving the hand out there. Just.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Anyways, thanks everyone.
I think that's it. Do we have anything else we have to talk about?
We're good.
I think we're good.
All right,
This is
y'all. I
good.
hope that Linda's mic did not ruin the beginning of the show.
It did not.
Okay. Can you even see Mike? Can you see my mic?
No.
Come
No,
on.
not
That's
really.
some wizardry right there.
It's
I
because
mean-
the glare on
I
your
mean, I
forehead.
You want me to? You want to start picking things out? You want to start picking things out?
I was kidding.
Your eyebrow had an antenna earlier.
No,
Okay.
no one told me that.
Okay.
Sorry, Canada.
Good. Who needed Wi-Fi earlier? Linda walked in with.
I know my eyebrows were like not in place. Anyways, we love you guys.
Move on. All right, everybody. We love you. Hopefully, we'll see some of you at the social mastermind. We'll see you at the
Oh,
advance.
yes.
We'll see you at a lot of things. Teddy says goodbye.
Yes, he does.
Peace out.
See ya.